trying to live, laugh, or love? Or are you just trying to do all of the above? This is the podcast for you. If you're an aspiring comic, a headlining comic, a class clown, or just an average bro or doe looking for a good time, you, my friend, are in the right place. Welcome to the magical world of Just Trying to Podcast. Here we go. Welcome, triers, doers, and everything in betweeners. This is Just Trying to Podcast with your host, Mike Tony Heath. This week we are talking all about just trying to stop AI. We're going to do an update on my comedy journey. We're going to hear some comments from you, the audience. We're going to hear about the problem of AI, artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about history from the multiverse. Some of my upcoming comedy shows and some joke writing. Good stuff. Before we get into today's episode, we want to hear from one of our subscribers, supporters of the podcast. We couldn't do Just Trying to Podcast without supporters like you. You can hop on to Spotify and support us there at any dollar amount monthly. You could be like our featured supporter for this episode. Episode number 13 is Robert Mifflin. Thank you, Robert, for supporting the podcast. And here's a word from Robert himself.
Cello folks, this is Robert Mifflin, and I am a massive fan of JTP. I've been a listener since the Genesis. My favorite episode is also Just Trying to Save Earth with Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants. I love the dialogue between Tony, Chuck, Chris, and Bill. You should become a supporter like me. Really, do it. I support the poddy for £4.20. It is worth every shekel.
Thank you, Robert. Those were moving words. I almost brought tears to my eyes. Thank you, Robert. We love you too. I was just at the Shanghai Room here in Seattle. On Friday is a little comedy room. It's a diner by day, comedy room, karaoke room by night. It was a hot show. Shout out to Dino Dad, or as he was referred to on Friday, Dino Dad, by one of the hosts. We appreciate all you do for the Seattle comedy scene. Thanks for making it happen. It was a hot show. Come out on a Friday night to the Shanghai Room. It's an open mic, so you never know what you're going to get, but no one bombs at the Shanghai Room. See you there Friday, Saturday, or Sunday at 7 p.m. Good stuff. Let's get into some comments from listeners from last week's episode. So last week's episode was part one of a two-part series within Just Trying to Podcast about talent stacking. Bang, bang, bang. Taking your ordinary talents and stacking them in such a way to make you more marketable. It was a good episode. So I've been hearing people talk about it, but these comments are from that episode number 12, Just Trying to Talent Stack. This is coming from Tech Noob 7, aka Mitchell M. Man, you've come a long way since the 16th Street days. Really enjoying the podcast. Definitely inspiring to see you take your talents and interest and really go at them. As a wise Bon Jovi fanatic would say, get after it, Mike Heath. As I'm typing this, you are talking about grading how good you are at wit and comedy. On that, I would just like to add, you will never know how to do something unless you start doing it. I like to say, I don't know how, but I can. Great. I don't know how, but I can. That really captures the essence of just trying to podcast. I don't know how, but I can. We're just trying. Whether you're doing it or you're trying to do it, you're an in-betweener, you're somewhere in there. You don't know how, but you're just doing it, Like, I don't know how to do stand-up comedy, but I'm doing it. I don't know how to do it. Just figuring it out as I go. I don't know how to podcast. I'm just trying to podcast. I don't know. I don't have it figured out here, folks. Thanks to supporters like Robert Mifflin, I can keep going to figure it out. So thanks for joining the journey. Another comment from Trevor Thorlickson, a frequent commenter, listener to the podcast. I asked, because I've been using 3 different cameras, and they're different types of cameras. Like, how do I make the colors look all similar? And I posted that as a comment, and Trevor got back to me. He said, after a quick Google search, here's what I found. And he said, there should be a tab where you can adjust your white balance and tone. You should be able to select it from there, and it will adjust each clip to what you have selected. Great. I don't know how you do Google. You do Google better than me. What I need to do is get onto Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT, how do I do it? So I feel like he will curate. I like to call mine Carl, the Carl chat. Hey, Carl, is what I say, because I've created that within Chat GPT thread. Anybody understand how that works? You know, it's like an advanced Google search is how I understand it. And I'm gonna pause right there, but that's a little teaser. We're getting into how we got to stop AI. It's going to take over the world. But thank you so much for leaving your comments. I love hearing comments, of what you guys have to say. You can drop a comment on Spotify or YouTube. I would love to hear what you guys think about these episodes, what you want to hear episodes about. We're just trying to podcast. And I have a news announcement for you. I don't know if you knew this already, but it's about to be summer. The cherry blossoms are popping off here in Seattle. It is beautiful. I'm sure if you're in Missouri, the dogwood trees are blossoming. They smell disgusting. I grew up, I had a dogwood tree in my front yard. It smelled so horrible. The state tree of Missouri, the dogwood tree. I should make a t-shirt. Something about having the dogwood tree, for our state tree in Missouri. And that's not my news announcement. My news announcement is it's almost summer, and the summer of 2023, let it be known, I called it on April 9th, Easter morning. I'm recording this. On April 9th, I called it that the summer of 2023 will be the mullet summer, or the summer of the mullet. I'm growing out my mullet here, and I've grown it out before. I've done it with friends. I've done it solo. I've done it all kinds of different ways, by myself, with others, and it is a joy. And I feel like this is the summer of the mullet. So if you're a male, or you're a woman, or you're somewhere in between, this is the summer of the mullet. So come on now, join me in the summer of the mullet. You know me. If you know me, you know I like starting new Instagrams. I'm going to try to start a new Instagram. I don't know if that username is taken yet, the summer of the mullet, but I'm going to start that in 2023. We are going to pop off. So if you have a mullet, or you know of somebody with a mullet, connect me, drop a comment, and let's get connected. We're going to build this thing. It's the summer of the mullet. Something that's been bothering me recently is drivers here in Seattle. And I heard this thing that you're not supposed to honk at people. And let me just tell you, my honking on the road has 5x'd since I moved to Seattle. It is like a new hobby for me. I love letting people know what I think with a different type of honk. Like if, hey, I don't know if you see I'm in this lane, but it looks like you're about to merge. I give it a little quick, burp, burp, just let them know I'm here. And then if someone cuts me off in traffic, I like to just lay on the horn, just like, I don't view it's rude. I feel like I'm executing justice. I don't know if you hate me because you ain't me. I don't know. But I love honking. I've been getting real into it recently. Like this yesterday, or not yesterday, but this recently. Maybe it was like a couple weeks ago, actually. I don't know. Time is relative. You know what I'm saying? If we were in Mars, it would have been yesterday. So I'm in the street, and this Amazon truck is just parked in the middle of the street, and it's like one of those streets that should be a one-way, or it should have parking on one side but not both. So there's cars parked on both sides of the street, and the Amazon truck is parked right in the middle of the street, blocking the whole road, and he is just driving 10 feet, stopping, delivering a package, get back in his truck, driving 10 feet, stopping his truck, delivering a package, getting back in. And he keeps doing that. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, bro? There's like 3 cars behind me. You are blocking traffic. So I just start honking at him. I'm just honking, dude. Just laying it on him till he's like, I'm letting you know what you're doing is a heinous act against all of humanity, you need to pull over like the postal service, the UPS trucks, the FedEx trucks. Everyone else is pulling over to the side of the road and getting out and delivering the packages on the street. They got to walk a little bit more. Who do you think you are? You know? All right. Just exercising, my right of free speech here in the country of America. Summer of the mullet's coming. We're honking. I'm sipping on some H2O, and I'm also got a little coffee review. This is Forecast Coffee Company. This is roasted here in Bellingham, Washington. Check it out. Forecast Roasters. This is their Cloudberry. It's an organic coffee. This coffee fights. It does say fights climate change. I'm doing a little coffee review real time for you. This episode is not sponsored by Forecast, but I am sampling a little of their coffee. It says I should taste notes of coffee and mixed berries. My friend Chuck really knows how to drink coffee. He says to breathe in through your nose as you're sucking the coffee into your mouth hole. I kind of let it hit all the parts of your mouth. I will say, I don't know, I'm not a very good barista myself, but it does have a slight fruity flavor to it, and I am definitely picking up the toffee. So I'm going to say just good work describing your coffee. Number one, Forecast. It is delightful. It is lighter roast. I like that. There's a lot of medium to dark roasted coffees here in Seattle. This is the Northwest. This is a lighter roasted coffee. I dig it. I found it at my local PCC or POC. Nope. It's one of those. It's a grocery store here in Seattle. Anyways, it's a great cup of coffee. I like to rate things out of 7. So I give this coffee, I'll give you a 5.4, but it could be just my barista skills that are diminishing it. So I don't know. Does anyone else like to go to the art house cinema? I love a good art house film. One of those films that get nominated for all of the awards. I like going to see those films. Those films are some of my favorite films. So I have a quick review. I went to go see the film Linoleum, starring Jim Gaffigan. He did great. It was a comedy drama. I like to say like a dramedy. It's probably most accurate to what to say. And like I watched it at the SIF Cinema Uptown Theater here in Seattle, which is a great local art house cinema. You should go there if you want to see any good films. Very decently priced. I also got Movie Pass. If you haven't got Movie Pass yet and you're a moviegoer, you can make your money back so quick. So it's $10 a month. I'm not sure if it's out in your region. It is out here in the Northwest. It's kind of spreading nationwide again. They had really successful, and the company crashed. Now they're back and better than ever. So I have Movie Pass. I pay $10 a month, and I get like 34 credits, which depending on what type of film you go to, and what time of day, and what theater, you can watch 2 to 3 films a month for $10. So if you don't go that often, it's not going to be worth it. But literally, you can go once a month, and like it's hard to find a ticket anywhere for $10 or less. So you're basically buying like a cheaper ticket by just having Movie Pass, right? So I love it because I'm going to see 2-3 films a month. Like typically, that's what I like to do in my free time. Go see a good film. So I'm saving so much money with Movie Pass. Anyways, sponsor me, Movie Pass. I'd love to, I don't know, I'm just messing around. But I do love Movie Pass. I used it the first time around, loved it. Now that it's back, I'm using it. But I saw Linoleum starring Jim Gaffigan in this comedy drama. It was great. I honestly still don't know why it was called Linoleum. If someone who is smarter than me that has watched the film could explain that to me, I would love that. Basically, it's about he's a scientist and it's like a powerful story. I don't want to say too much, but it's about space and really this guy's story and kind of like a midlife crisis. Like he ends up like losing his job to like a better version of himself. But it's one of those films that like there's some confusing things that you're happening. You're like, what does this have to do? Or like, what just happened? Like, how does that fit into the plot? And then at the very end, everything comes full circle and everything fits together. And I love those films, like those puzzle films. So well done. I love it. Go see Linoleum if it's at a theater near you, starring Jim Gaffigan. And then I also want to do a little fried chicken review. If you're in Seattle and you haven't heard of the Chicken Supply's got great chicken. They sell out like every day, so you have to like order online or get there early in the day. They close at 8. I went there at 7 once and they sold out. So it's a real hot commodity here in the city of Seattle. But they have gluten-free chicken and it's solid. It's juicy. It's everything that you would want. There's not a lot of seating indoors, if it's a nice day here in Seattle. Not like today, but if the sun's out, you go grab a box of fried chicken. You can get a drink there, and then you take it out to Gasworks. You sit out, you look over that's to be a perfect afternoon dinner. Go check out the Chicken Supply. Solid stuff. I would rate their chicken a solid 6.1, maybe 6.2 on a good day, out of 7. Time for business. Okay, we gotta stop AI. AI must be stopped. We're just trying to stop AI from taking over the world. I don't know if you guys have seen this open letter from the Future of Life Institute. My source material for this section of the poddy is from Morning Brew. Morning Brew, an awesome resource. It's a 5-minute read every morning. They compile some current events, some stories from the news that are relevant, and they do it in a comedic way. It's not doom and gloom. I think it can make you chuckle throughout your read. It only takes 5 minutes to email it to you every day. It's free, and I'll put a link in the show notes, and you can use my referral link. I'm trying to get a pair of joggers. If you refer so many people to the Morning Brew, you can get some rewards because it doesn't cost anything. There's this open letter that the Future of Life Institute sent out, and it had like 20,000 signatures on it from some people really influential, like Elon Musk signed this letter that was asking for a 6-month pause on the development of AI. We should pause. It's getting too risky. And it's been hotly debated, I guess. I don't know. I've kind of missed it. I've heard all about ChatGPT. Some people are starting businesses, having ChatGPT create their business. Students, I had a friend of mine who's a student in college right now. He said he was spending 2 hours. He's a computer science major. He spent 2 hours on a homework problem, could not solve it. And he broke down and plugged the problem into ChatGPT, and within 5 minutes, he had solved it. Whether that's a positive or a negative, like it's changing the game rapidly, quick, right? People are creating businesses. People are skirting homework. They're getting the answer, but is that how we should get the answer? I don't know. You tell me. But this letter, signed by people like Elon Musk, it's like too risky, right? So here's what the letter is saying. That the current generation of AI tools risks displacing humans from fulfilling jobs and filling the internet with propaganda and misinformation. Now, I've tried to get ChatGPT to say some crazy stuff, and it seems like there's some guardrails. I guess I've heard in the earlier days of ChatGPT, there wasn't these guardrails. Like if you're trying to ask it a divisive question, it will say, I am simply like an AI. I cannot make opinions. I can just, give facts or whatever. So I think that's set up. But, there's probably other AI technologies that maybe don't have those guardrails, or like what if they got developed and they didn't have, so it's just spreading misinformation. But how I think about ChatGPT is that it's like just an advanced Google search. I don't really understand anything. I understand nothing, just like Michael Scott. But I'm just trying to stop AI, because if Elon Musk, the co-founder of Apple, Steve Wozniak, signed up on this, but there's people who oppose it. But the people who are for it, maybe they agree with what the Future of Life Institute says, that in their open letter, that over the long haul, the stakes are even higher than just displacing humans, that machines could eventually outnumber, outsmart, obsolete, and replace humans. That sounds like the premise of a sci-fi film. That sounds like Terminator. That sounds like The Matrix. That we are going to find ourselves living in a sci-fi film. Maybe you've always wanted to be a movie star. Well, you could live in a movie that our reality actually becomes a sci-fi film. That's what this letter is asking the government to enact a moratorium if AI labs don't pause voluntarily. I do not know what a moratorium is. Drop in the comments. Let me know. What does that mean? But I guess we're just calling for some regulations, like to establish what we're doing here, But Bill Gates, he's against it. He's against this letter. He's like, we got to keep doing that. He told, I guess he might have a stake in OpenAI, who's creating ChatGPT. I don't know if that's true. According to the Morning Brew, it is. He told Reuters, Reuters, they're a source of news. He told Reuters that a pause wouldn't solve any problems with AI and that a moratorium would be unenforceable. So I'm picking up that a moratorium would be some sort of stipulations. I don't know. Still not picking up what that is, but he says it wouldn't solve it. There's another. I don't know. Others say that we shouldn't stop AI because it's impractical. That it couldn't be enforced globally. That if the U.S. paused development of AI, would others go on and we would fall? We'd fall behind. Now imagine some big countries. You won't name them here. Big countries develop some AI, and now we're in third place. We're like Ricky Bobby. We just want to go fast, and we want to win. If you ain't winning, you're losing. So if you're in third, you're losing. We're like Ricky Bobby. That's the American spirit right there. So I don't know. I feel like we should stop AI because I don't want to live in the Matrix or a Terminator reality. But also, I don't want to come in third place. I'm American. I want to come in first. So others say, the letter doesn't go far enough. They're saying it's going to take longer than 6 months to develop a playing field, so to speak. If we don't want to live in the show Black Mirror, anybody seen Black Mirror? I haven't seen all of it. Some of it's, I can't, speak to every episode. I haven't seen all of it. A lot of it's pretty naughty. So I can't recommend that you watch all of it. But just this crazy reality, like what if technology advances to like these, like AI is like a big theme, I think, from it. Essentially, like technology kind of takes over the world, or it radically changes the way we interact as humans. Like, I know like there was this one episode I saw where you could like your memories were like downloaded. Like you could download your memories. Like people could do like a security check because they could like see your memories. Like that'd be crazy, right? Like if you were getting investigated for a crime, like you were at the wrong place at the wrong time, you didn't do the crime, and then you could just be exonerated from the crime. That was a big word I just used right there. You're like, this guy educated in Missouri? And you could be exonerated from this crime because they replay your memory, and they see like, oh, you didn't do it. Like, so that's like a positive of that, but also like a negative, like you could replay it and you'd be like, oh, you did do it, so depends on which side of the spectrum you're on that. But if we don't want to see the realities, or we don't want to see Black Mirror become our reality, we got to pause, and it's going to take longer than 6 months is what some people say. So it's no longer the academics who are developing this AI, that this is moved into the mainstream, which means the ethical dynamics are developing like right before our eyes rapidly, and there's big money at stake now. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? We got to stop AI for a little bit. I mean, if Elon Musk is signing off on this letter that we need to pause for 6 months, that's crazy. The guy that wants to make humanity an interplanetary species, he wants to terraform Mars, and he's saying we got to pause on this AI. This is the same guy who has started the company Neuralink that wants to plug a computer into our brains. Is saying we got to stop. Maybe we should listen. That's all. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Well, if that interested you, you could learn stuff like that. Click the link in the show notes to sign up for the Morning Brew. You could hear cool stories like this. Maybe you didn't even know this was happening in the world. I'll be honest, I didn't know until I read the Morning Brew. I also don't watch the news, so there's that. I want to do a little update on my comedy journey. Comedy with Mike Tony. Big things popping off last month in the month of March. I had my first paid gig of all time. It wasn't at a comedy club, which is a goal of mine. I don't know if it's too ambitious. It could be. But to get a paid comedy gig at a comedy club or like a place that is uniquely comedy. So this was at the Shanghai Room, which I've spoken about before. It's a diner by day, comedy room, karaoke bar by night. We were at the Fresh and Stale Comedy Showcase, a show produced by my friend Rob Conroy. It was on March 23rd. It was headlined by Taylor Clark, a veteran comic here in Seattle, and then we had like 10 or so comics under a year who was like the Fresh and the Stale, and it was a hot show. Honestly, it was a packed room. It was a great audience, but it felt like a cool landmark. So it wasn't like I didn't hit my goal of being in a comedy venue and getting paid for doing comedy there, but it was my first paid gig. So I made $22 off that. That's pretty cool, and I like sharing these details because really, maybe you're interested, but it's kind of cool. Like I'm chronicling my comedy journey. These are you've heard of the Chronicles of Narnia, but have you heard of the Chronicles of Comedy? That's what I'm doing here on Just Trying to Podcast. I'm just trying to stand up. I'm just trying to podcast, just trying to chronicle my comedy journey. And in the month of March, I shared a little bit about this. Like I'm trying to write every day. You see this calendar behind me with the black and red X's. Right here, every day that I write, I put a black X. Every day that I get up on stage and perform stand-up, I put a red X. So in the month of March, I was trying to just write every day, and I was trying to get on stage 2 to 3 times for some amount of time to do a set. So I did better than I did in February. So I only missed 10 days in March. And but I did get on stage 13 times. So I hit my goal of getting up 2-3 times a week, but I didn't write every day. So when I write, I'm just trying to like either write a new premise for a joke, I'm trying to punch up a joke that I already have, or I like re-listen to like a set and then try to rewrite the joke from that. Just trying to do 10 minutes a day. So last month, I had my first paid gig. I started writing more. I hit my goal of getting up on stage. This month in April, it started off hot with a show at Bickerson's Brew House. I got on a show, like an artist showcase. So it was mostly music, and I was like the middle act. I was doing comedy, and I did like my longest set I've ever done. I did 18 minutes. Which was challenging, but very fun. Like it was fun to just kind of have that much time to really get into some stuff. And like I tried a lot of new material, which is fun to like have that much time. So I did some like my greatest hits, I'll call them that, but like I've only been doing comedy since October. So I don't know if I really have greatest hits quite yet, but things that have been successful, I did those, but then I did a lot of new. So that was really fun. And then I had another like milestone. I sold my first piece of merch. I've made these stickers, these keep Mike, Tony, Heath weird. These yellow ones didn't really work out too well, but I've been selling these stickers. Keep Mike, Tony, Heath weird. Kind of fun, like holographic vibe right there. And I was selling those for $1. So I got on stage and I kind of made a joke about it and came off stage and had a guy buy one. I got the $1 to prove it right here. Hey, making the big bucks. I'm rolling in the dough, bro. I'm a dude, back in my bag, dude. Doughboy fresh over here. So yeah, sold some merch. That was fun. You know, it's a $1 sticker sale, but still felt cool. The guy came up to me after the show and bought that. So, and April's been going good. You know, I've got on stage twice this month. Had that hot show at the artist showcase at Bickerson's, and I haven't missed a day writing yet. So my goal is to get all the way through April and write every day. We're gonna end the month of April with the first show that I will produce. I'm producing the Cheney Comedy Showcase in Cheney, Washington. So if you're in Eastern Washington, on Thursday, April 20th, you need to come over to West Plains Roaster. It's going to be a hot show. We got Charles Hall Jr. as the headliner. We got featuring comic from Seattle, Kate Carlson. Charles Hall Jr. is a Spokane comic, but he's hilarious. He's popping off right now. You're going to want to see him. Check him out on Instagram. I'll put the link in our bio. So there's limited tickets. You should get your tickets now before they sell out. I think we're going to sell out that room. It's going to be a nice, intimate show, and it's going to be a good time. I really think we're going to sell out. It's going to be fun. We're going to have, so West Plains is going to do some like nachos. We're going to have drinks. It's going to be like a special menu that they're doing for the comedy show. And I think everyone should come out. Like, grab a friend. The tickets are on sale. The link is in the show notes here, or any of my links on Instagram, Mike Tony Heath, or Just Trying to Podcast. You could find tickets there. So get them while you can. It's going to be fun. It's my first time producing a show. I'm going to be the host. So I'm going to do a little host set. And it's going to be the cleanest 420 show in all of Washington State. So we're not talking PG, but we're also not talking R. So it's going to be like PG-13. You know, it's PG to PG-13 is kind of the range that we'll be in. So, you know, if you have like a little kid, you know, don't bring them. But if you have a teenager, like, it's going to be clean, nothing weird. So you can bring them through. If you have kids, you know, bring them. If you want to get a babysitter, you can bring it, the spouse. It'll be fun. If you're old or you're young, you're a college student, Eastern Washington or Gonzaga, like, come through. It's gonna be a hot show, and it's gonna be kind of a feel good show. Like, I like that feeling of, you know, we leave not feeling bad, just feeling maybe encouraged, but we just had a good time. You know, just had a good time, laughing it up. A couple more things I've been thinking about recently is this idea of the multiverse. Right? So you see it in Marvel films. You also see it in the recent A24 blockbuster, we can even call it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, the film that won the Best Picture at the Oscars this year, has this idea of if there's alternate realities kind of running alongside each other, like we're intermingled with these alternate realities where it's often portrayed as like there's a you, but like a different version of you, because you in that different reality made different choices, right? So what if we, this idea of like writing jokes about like history from the multiverse. So like take like Girl Scout cookies, for example. Like, what if in this alternate reality, how Girl Scout cookies came to be is that there was this cookie company, and they had these good cookies, but they weren't making any sales. So they got their sales team together and like, how can we sell more cookies? And then they said, well, what's really hard to say no to in a sales pitch is like if a child is trying to sell you like lemonade, right? On the corner for a quarter. You're like, I don't want lemonade right now, but this kid's cute. They're out here, you know, hustling for some lemonade. I'll buy a lemonade. You know, even for $1, you would probably do it. Like, we pay way more for a lemonade at a kid's lemonade stand and it's really worth, right? Because we're like, oh, this is funny, this is cute. I want to support this kid, out here, trying to make this happen, right? So they're in the sales pitch and they're talking about that, and they're like, here's how we can sell our cookies. We're going to get kids to sell our cookies for us. And they're like, well, that won't work because in this alternate reality, they also have child labor laws. So how can we get around the child labor laws? They're like, what if we started an organization where we had young girls sell our cookies for us, but we set it up in such a way as that we're trying to teach young girls entrepreneurship, of how to start their own business, how to market something, how to sell something, how to be positioned outside of a grocery store or in front of a place where people walk in different festivals or events, in ways to sell cookies. And it was posed as we're trying to develop the next generation to become entrepreneurs, but really we're just trying to sell some cookies. So we're going to start the Girl Scouts to prepare them for life. And what if that was the origin story of the Girl Scouts? That really Girl Scout cookies came to be because a cookie company wanted to sell cookies. Like, what if that was the history of the Girl Scout cookies from the multiverse? But let me pose this to you. Do you know how Girl Scout cookies came to be in America, in our reality? Is that what happened? Which came first, Girl Scout cookies or the Girl Scouts? Are we living in that reality? I don't know. I'm not hating on the Girl Scouts. I don't know anything. I understand nothing. I'm just saying that's an interesting idea. Like, we should even make films out of that. I'm trying to start a film company about history from the multiverse, like a docu-series on Netflix. Netflix, if you're hearing this right now, book me. I got ideas. I got Girl Scout cookie ideas. I got ideas you don't even know about. All right, we're landing the plane here. I'm wearing this North Carolina jersey that I bought in 8th grade when I thought I was a wankster, because I don't know if you guys heard about this Missouri sports news. It's really just NCAA basketball news that Caleb Love, a guard for the University of North Carolina, was transferring this year to a different university. And there was talks, at least among the Missouri sports writers, that he might transfer to Missouri. And I was a fan of this. I was like, it seems like a long shot, but I'm an optimist. Maybe it can happen. And Caleb didn't transfer to Missouri. He transferred to Michigan, and I'm in grieving. But the more I thought about it, I thought that maybe Caleb just made a mistake, because the logos for Michigan and Missouri are very similar. The logo for Michigan is a block M, and the logo for Missouri is a block M. Both different shades of yellow or gold. So what I'm thinking is that Caleb was probably choosing some form where they had the logos for the universities, and he meant to click on Mizzou's block M, and he accidentally clicked on Michigan's block M. So is it too late, Caleb? Did you make a mistake? Come home. Come to Mizzou. M-I-Z. Caleb, we want you. Come home. Is it too late to back out of this transfer? Come over. Dennis Gates is doing good stuff. He's turning around the program. Come on. M-I-Z. And this last week, I went out onto campus and I was interviewing people in a Easter bunny outfit. And I was interviewing people 3 questions, like, what does Easter mean to you? What gives you hope? And do you believe in indestructible hope? And do you have it? It's like, do you believe that there's a hope that is indestructible? That someone could have hope that like nothing could break or shake? And do you have that? And so it was all about this idea of hope. And it was really interesting, like the answers. Like most people were saying, like, I put my hope in like success, like my ability to succeed, or even the opportunity to succeed, or just like in family. And friends, my Missouri showing, family and friends, family and friends. And I've been thinking a lot about that, about what gives us hope in life. So I don't put my hope in becoming, the next Dave Chappelle or Nate Bargatze or Dusty Slay or insert your favorite comedian. I don't put my hope in that. It's this interesting idea of like what Christians believe, like followers of Jesus believe, is that like our hope is really in the fact that Jesus defeated sin and death, like that his resurrection, like so that he, if you're in America, maybe you've heard that, Jesus died for our sins on the cross, but that he conquered death and defeated death by his resurrection, so that he went from dead to alive, and that God became a man, right, in Jesus, and that did this for us. So he died so we could live. That he took on our sin so we could take on his righteousness, his perfection. That everything that Christians believe hinges on the reality of the resurrection. Like if the resurrection is false, everything falls apart. Right? That's what the Bible even says. That is that we are to be pitied among all people if this isn't true. Because if this isn't true, everything is pointless. And some people will say that's pretty fragile for a religion, but I think that's what's so beautiful about Easter. Isn't just like the eggs, but just this reality that it does come down to this one thing. Like this is the hinge. You pull the pin out. That's what our pastor said on during our Easter gathering. You take the pin. If the pin is the resurrection, you just pull that pin out of the hinge, the whole mechanism falls apart. In that this really happened. That Jesus did die, but then he rose again. He's alive, is what the T-shirts say, or the bulletin boards outside the churches in your neighborhood say. So as I'm asking this question, like what gives you hope in this bunny suit on campus, which has to be just so bizarre. I ask people, like, do you want to be interviewed? I'm like in this bunny suit, and I'm like, what's it about? It's like, it's about hope. So I let people know what it's about, and then I ask them, and people would say, oh, that's a deep question. Like I was just headed to physics right now, and I was headed to biology. I was headed to lunch. And so like, what gives me hope in life, and is it indestructible? Is that that's the only thing that is, I believe, is indestructible hope, that we could lose everything. The AI could take over the world, and we still have hope. Because Jesus is alive, and that's pretty powerful stuff. That you can go through anything in life, you can go through the ups and downs, but you will remain unmoved. That's what I believe. So that's pretty encouraging to me today, and I had really fun doing this podcast today. And we're in the middle of this 2-part series, so we're taking like a break around just trying to talent stack. So I've been talking to people about that, and we're going to come back to follow up on part 2 of just trying to talent stack next week. So if you have ideas around that, or you have thoughts around that, go listen to the last episode if you haven't already, and then let me know. I would love to kind of interview you for this upcoming podcast. And you can even send a voice memo in. You click the link in the show notes. If you have a comment on this episode, or on just trying to talent stack, drop a voice memo. You could even get featured in the podcast. I can upload that here, and I can even leave you anonymous if you want. But this has been fun, and thank you so much for listening, guys. You can become a supporter for the podcast on Spotify. Check the link in the show notes. The show on 420 in Cheney, Washington. So if you're over in Eastern Washington, come through, tell a friend, share it. We're on. There's a Facebook event, but you can find the link in the show notes here for a link to the tickets. I really think that it's going to be like worth it just to see the feat. Not even me. Like I hope I have a good set, but Charles Hall Jr. and Kate Carlson, they're very funny people, and I think there's going to be something for everyone there, and it's going to be a fun hang. So I really come through. 420 at 7 p.m. at West Plains Roasters. Buy tickets beforehand because it's going to sell out. Tickets will be more at the door too, so you can save some money. Got to save that money. And as always, my friends, stay funny and stay weird. Great shot.